What's good? It's your favorite lawyer from the hood, Marquel Cade, with Cade Mark Law, back with another resource for you. I have a lot of clients that come to me and need help because they feel they've been discriminated against at work. Well, today we're going to talk about 3 steps that you should take if you think you've been discriminated against at work. But before we get into that, let's talk about what employment discrimination even is. A lot of people get this confused. Employment discrimination is when you are treated differently at work because of your race, your gender, your color, your religion, your sex, your gender identity, your sexual orientation, your national origin, your disability, your age, your genetic information, these types of things. A lot of times, there are plenty of laws that will help protect you against discrimination at work when suffered under one of these guises. It protects you from unfair treatment, from harassment, from denial of reasonable workplace changes when you have a disability or a religious accommodation, for example, for improper questions or disclosure of your genetic information or your medical information, for retaliation because you complained about job discrimination. Employment discrimination covers all of these things. The first thing you're going to want to do if you feel like you've been subjected to workplace or employment discrimination is document the situation. Document the incident. Document what happened. Document the microaggressions or the transgressions that you suffer on the day-to-day that you feel are subjecting you to workplace discrimination. Documenting the situation not only provides you evidence and helps you with step 2, which is coming in just a moment, it allows you to contextualize the situation, to see if you even have enough to build a case. It allows you to take this documentation to HR or to higher ups and bring the situation to their attention. Remember, documentation can take many different forms. It can be a video or an audio recording. It can be a document that you've written and an incident report. Documentation can take the form of a third party testifying that they saw this happen. Documentation takes many forms, but it's important to have not only for evidence purposes, but for step 2 and for investigation into the employment discrimination charge that you're gonna plan on making. Which nicely leads us into the second thing that you should do if you feel like you've been subjected to workplace or employment discrimination. Bring it to HR. Bringing it to HR can not only open an investigation into some of the claims you're making, but sometimes it'll nip the problem in the bud right there. Sometimes there's no need to sue or to go further than just bringing it to HR's attention. Maybe they don't know that there's a problem character at work who's discriminating against their employees. Maybe they don't know of some of the transgressions or microaggressions that you've suffered. Bringing this to their attention with proper documentation can help you in formulating a case or a plan that can help you survive this discrimination or help prevent it altogether in the future. It can help end that cycle right there. Bringing it to HR's attention is also going to be important for step 3. We'll get into that. The third thing you're going to want to do if you feel like you've been subjected to workplace or employment discrimination is file a charge or inquiry with the state civil rights office or with the federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, also known as the EEOC. For employers that have that federally mandated 25 employees or more, you're going to want to file probably with the EEOC, but filing with the state civil rights office is just as acceptable. Filing a charge or an inquiry is actually a required step before you can file an employment discrimination lawsuit in a civil context. So you'll want to make sure that you follow step 3 if it gets to that point and HR does nothing about the discrimination. You don't really want to skip step 1 and 2 because without step 1, you don't have the documentation that you need for the EEOC. Not that it's required, but it's definitely helpful. And without bringing it to HR, you may not have filled the proper protocol and bringing it to your employer's attention that you may need to file that equal employment opportunity commission charge or inquiry against your employer. So you want to keep in mind that step 1 and step 2 are very important for the process before you even get to step 3. But with step 3, it's very easy to just go to the EEOC website or go to your state civil rights office website and file an employment discrimination complaint or inquiry. They'll ask you questions about what happened in your incident. They'll ask you for this documentation. And oftentimes you must complete an interview to complete your charge or your inquiry for them to look into it. After you do your interview, typically speaking, you will have a few moments where they're making a decision and investigating on the process, but they will issue an administrative action, which sometimes can be a fine for your employer or a citation for your employer or something that gets you whole again if you were to lose your job and suffer a financial consequence as a result. They allow for a consequence to happen as a result of this discrimination. This is why you'll want to bring this to their attention, other than the reason that it's required that you bring it to their attention before you can even sue your employer in a civil context. The third step is perhaps the most important of this entire process. That's all, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been 3 steps that you should take if you feel like you've been subjected to employment or workplace discrimination. We hope this was helpful. Once again, I am Markwell Cade with Cade Mark Law, your favorite neighborhood lawyer. Protect your brand, grow your business. Stay frosty, my friends. We'll see you next time.